Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 6 of the Bucs UK TV podcast. We've made it this far, and you know what? Football has made it this far as well, because it's so close, you can almost touch the regular season. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. We are joined by Gene Thomas of Buck What You Heard podcast, and our semi-regular contributors, David Cambridge and Adam. Say hello, guys.
Hi there.
Hello, everyone.
And so we're going to talk about the Saints game this week. We'll hear a little bit more from one of our members, and then we're going to put Gene on the back foot and actually interview him for a change. He's normally in the chair asking the questions, so we'll see how you cope. So without any further ado, on to the Saints. So week one begins with the Saints in probably what is the most anticipated matchup. Gene, let's start with you. How do you think this game's going to go down?
You know, it's going to be a very good game. I think this is a good barometer to where the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are. Starting out of the gates. If we look back in previous seasons, we've seen where sometimes the Bucs start out hot, and then there are other seasons where they start out kind of sluggish. And then, sometimes they get their stride and sometimes they don't. I think you're looking at a team that is a proven commodity in the New Orleans Saints. They've won the NFC South. They've continuously gone to the playoffs, and sometimes have gone deep into the playoffs. So they are a good barometer to see what you have with this Buccaneers team. When you talk about Tom Brady and the return of a lot of your defensive players, I think this will give us a good idea of what we have. And I do believe this is a winnable game. I think when you look at facing Drew Brees, Alvin Kamara, Michael Thomas, and that Saints defense, I really think that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers really match up well with them. This is a winnable game. I do see them winning this game personally.
Okay, well, we'll come back for everyone for their predicted scores at the end. Adam, then, so do you share Gene's philosophy? What do the Bucs need to do to win this?
Yeah, I know the Saints haven't got off on the right foot very often, week one of the season. They beat the Texans last year, week one, but the 5 years previous to that, they've lost week one's game. So if you believe in history, there's a possibility we'll win. But I think as far as keys to winning this game, obviously history shows it. You've got to hit Drew Brees. You've got to get him on his back. It's the obvious number one thing. Number two for us would be getting our running game going. And I think if you can take a bit of pressure with a running game, it opens up the other things, the wide receivers, other routes. And the other thing, stop Mike Thomas. Make our run defense take care of their runners, Kamara, and, take the pressure off a little bit. I think that's going to be the three obvious keys. You could almost say it's an obvious key to all games, but particularly with the Saints hitting Drew Brees.
Interesting you mentioned Kamara. Obviously in the news this week, he's hoping for contract problems. Never wish a player ill.
He's had a love-in with Peyton today, hasn't he? And they're all friends again. So
I just saw that.
Yeah.
They said they're on closer terms than they were yesterday. So I don't know. There's always hoping.
Okay, so that's on the Saints side and what the Saints offer then, David. What do you think, and what should we be looking out for?
Well, I think the Saints are a bit tried and tested now. They've been there. They've got a good nucleus that's been there a long time. But actually, they're coming off 3 horrible season playoff defeats, aren't they? I mean, it's got to hurt them. They've got to think that they're never going to get there again. And have they lost a bit of that momentum coming off? That's going to be really interesting. And you mentioned earlier about hitting Brees early and getting him hurt. you know, they had Bridgewater there last year that was a backup. Now they got James. So, you know, that could be really interesting if we get it in really early. That's going to be quite intriguing to see. I mean, it's amazing. New Orleans, they practically didn't turn the ball over last season. I think it was a crazy low at something like 8 times. And, you know, so it's not about, you know, it's just stopping the big plays, really. It's stopping how many times have we been there and just let Michael Thomas run the field? You know, traditionally, Bucs defense, we always seem to let the star receiver of the other team get free all the time. And we've got to tighten up. And I think our secondary is getting there. And I think that's going to be quite important to the game. I think we already know that our defense line can stop the run. And it's making sure the secondary do the job this time.
Oh, go, Gene.
I like that. That was a great point. I felt like the defense was starting to buy into Todd Bowles' defense at the back end of the season, and you saw a lot more consistency. You saw a lot more cohesion than what you've seen in previous seasons. So that kind of gives you hope going into this season. Not to mention a lot of people that were injured are going to be 100% healthy. So you know, that just again, it gives you hope on the defensive side of the ball as well. That they have, you know, this familiarity with this line and the defensive coordinator. So I do expect big things from them.
I mean, how do you think it's going to feel with no fans in the stadium for both teams? The impact on that?
Well, they've still got the sound pumped in, haven't they? So even though there's going to be no fans there, there's still going to be disruptive sounds.
And it's an indoor stadium as well, so you know all the sound stays in.
Is that 85 decibels? Is that what they said?
Mm-hmm. Just like a plane going overhead, allegedly, isn't it?
Yeah,
if it's a plane going overhead constantly when you're on third down, then that's not going to be appreciated. Gino, I think you said this is going to be a winnable game. Do you think this is going to be like a tight game, or you know, because we've had tight games where we've come up the right side of it. I'm thinking like, you know, the Fitzmagic start to the season. We've had tight games where we've lost, which historically has been like the last week of every season we've ever played the Saints. Is it going to be a blowout? Is it going to be close?
You know, I'm totally unsure. The one thing that I will say, you don't have to worry a lot about turnovers. You do have a quarterback that will take care of the ball, somebody that's very decisive, somebody that can make pre-snap reads, somebody that understands defenses when he see it. He's basically an offensive coordinator under center right now, just in Tom Brady. And I think that he's gotten his offensive side of the ball. He's gotten everybody to buy in. And I think again, this could be a blowout, or this again, this could be a close game. It just because of COVID-19, it puts you at a position where you can't really 100% say for sure, because you miss preseason, you miss OTAs, rookies miss minicamp, and you're just basically going into the season with none of that in under your belt. So it's going to be interesting, and again, it could go either way.
I originally had it a massive shootout. You know, it's going to be another 40-pointer, but the closer it gets to it, the more, unlike the least practice we've had and everything, and the way the preseason's gone, I think it's going to be a tighter game with a lower score the nearer it gets.
I think a tighter game favours the Bucs. It means if we can get them out of their rhythm and we can try and eliminate some mistakes and just get some points on the board, that's how I think we can kind of snatch it. As you were saying, David, you know, this is a finely oiled Saints machine. The playbook hasn't changed. The audibles haven't changed. Same people, same roles, same chemistry. And, you know, it just feels like when we were doing our season preview, this was the game I had down as a loss, but I kind of said that it was a good loss. And this is a loss that takes a lot of the heat off of us, although I'm sure everyone will be calling for, you know, Bruce's and Tom's head after week one, you know, because the alternative is if we win, we're going to the Super Bowl, obviously. You know, I think this is the loss that gives us a little bit of humility, takes the heat off, and actually, it's the people that are playing in December that win the league.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's an expectation from a lot of Bucs fans that all of a sudden our offense is going to blow people away. That's not Tom Brady, really. And you look at the Bucs record for the last 4 seasons, we've lost something like 24 out of 35 defeats within 1 score. And I think that's just going to be the difference this year. We're not going to actually destroy teams, but actually we're just going to be that extra bit of carefulness and that winning mentality to get us over the line more. And I think that's what Brady's going to bring.
It's hard not to sort of have every sentence with Brady in it, unfortunately, because that's where all the attention's been. But I mean, I'll ask each of you in turn, like which one player other than Brady is the one that you're going to be looking at as either their performance or their barometer for the game? For me, I want to see what Sue brings. I think Sue ended the season on a high. That front seven was firing, and it was really bailing out the secondary, which also improved as well. For me, I think if Sue has a good game, that means good things are going to happen for the Bucs. What do you think, Gene?
Ronald Jones is my guy. I started the Ronald Jones fan club. I've been a huge fan of his since he was drafted. I felt like, with Dirk Cutter giving up on him after 23 plays, that was very frustrating for me. I like how he went back to practicing and working out and getting better. When he came back to his sophomore season, he had a very good season, I felt like. And then, he's just continuously gotten better. He's continuously working to be better. And I feel like the running game is the missing component in the Bucks offense, in making them consistent. And I believe that he's a guy with getting more snaps. When you consider him and Peyton Barber, they were basically equal on the snaps that they got. I felt that Ronald Jones was a better runner. He's a violent runner, and there were even plays that, what was it, like 96 plays, 96 yards in one game that were called back on penalties, by because of Ronald Jones running and getting all these yards, and these plays get called back on penalties. I believe that this guy is a legitimate running back, and I'm really looking forward to watching him run, just based on the changes and improvements that he's continuing to make as a running back in the NFL.
Yeah, they've made massive pride about him in this pre-season, and catching the ball as well, and improving sort of in every bit, ball retention. I think he's going to be huge for us this year. He needs to be. We've desperately needed a solid running back for a number of years now.
Who's your BDI going to be on then, David?
I think tight ends is actually going to be really interesting this year. And again, supporting, you've got Brait and OJ Howard, and I don't think either of them had a great season last year. I know Brait was carrying an injury on his thigh most of the season, but also Arians used them an awful lot for blocking. And I think we're probably...
Can I just real quick, just jump in here. When you compare quarterbacks, and the words around camp, you guys have been following camp on social media. Accuracy, precision, decision making. These are things that you hear about the quarterback now that you haven't consistently heard over the past 4 or 5 years. You have not heard that. And I think that is a difference maker going into the season. I mean, considering the weapons that you have at your disposal, I think you kind of have to look at that and look at that as a plus, because when you look at last year, you were like, man, you were worried about interceptions throughout a game. You could watch a game for 4 quarters and you're like, man, is he going to throw an interception here? Is this going to be that play? Is this going to be
and play of the game? How many times?
Yeah, the first play of the game.
That has been totally taken out of the equation, just based on what Tom Brady brings. That's been taken out of the equation, because we do know that he's a guy that will take care of the football. And I think that's a missing part of what we didn't have last year.
Good point. And so, David, which of the tight ends, then, which one do you think is the game changer for the Saints?
I think OJ Howard, he needs to come through this year. I think he had a really disappointing season last year. And I think that, everyone's going to be looking at Gronk, and he's going to hit the line, and he's going to make some big plays for us this year. And I think he's the ideal guy to get in there and, really make some good plays for us.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Adam, who have you got your eye on?
Well, it's Rojo again. And with all the hype he's been getting, Scotty Miller, funnily enough. But like Rojo, I know you covered it all, Gene, more or less. But like 1,000 all-purpose yards last year, or just short of 1,000 all-purpose yards, with those 100 yards in one game called back. He's going to do it this year. The line is better. The tight ends will be blocking better. So if they can just tidy up half of those flags, you've got a 1,000-yard rusher, plus however many yards he's going to get through the air, you could be looking at 1,500 yards just from the one guy. Scotty Miller, we've all been watching it. How much good praise is he getting from Brady?
Is
we
Scotty
talk
the
about-
new Edelman?
Yeah, we talk about the accuracy of Brady, and how many times last year did it feel like Winston is forcing the ball, forcing it to Scotty Miller, and we're all like, someone else got to be open. He's in double coverage, and you're forcing him the ball. Well, I don't think that's going to be that won't even be an element of the game this year. I think Brady's going to find the open guy with all that precision we talk about. Just Brady being there gives us a different feel of confidence before even the game started. Like how many times was we in the forum before a game thinking, is this going to be a pick six on the first drive? How many times? We're all sitting there typing saying, oh, please don't be a pick six on the first drive.
It's either run up the gut or
run up the gut or a pick six. And I think with Brady now, we can all sit back, relax, have a beer and enjoy the first play of the game.
For anyone not aware, what Adam's describing, on our website we have a forum discussion bulletin board, and during a game, if you're a member or not, log on, come and join in the chat. It's like group therapy.
I'm actually logged on with you guys, and that will be something that I will be doing throughout the game.
Good fun.
Checking out with you guys.
Yeah.
I can't believe no one's mentioned kickers yet.
I know.
You know what?
With all the kickers.
I do want to bring up an interesting point. The kicker was not a huge factor when the Bucs won the Super Bowl.
No, but I mean, it's momentum, isn't it? I mean, you look back at that Giants game last season; it just sucked everything out of the team.
But you have to think about this: the interceptions and where they occurred, turnovers have been a huge problem over the past 4 or 5 years. And listen, I am a huge Jameis Winston fan. I always have been. From the time he's at Florida State up until now. But when I'm talking about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, when you look at the body of work overall, the back-breaking penalties, back-breaking interceptions, where they occurred, it's not so much a number of them, it's where they occurred. And that has really is what hurts fans the most, is that you're watching this game, you're all into it, and here's a pick six. Let's talk about the Atlanta game. The Atlanta game was a winnable game. That's a game that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers should have won, and it didn't turn out that way. But, when we talked about the quarterback, everybody's talked about Tom Brady. Keep in mind, here's a guy that takes care of the football, and I think that is going to be huge in the overall, progression of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Okay, then. So final decisions. What's your predicted scores? Adam, we'll come to you first. What's the final score?
Like I said, when we were doing the predictions, originally it was in the 40s, but I'm going to go somewhere along 24-21 to the Bucs.
So the kicking's important for you.
Yeah, and I've changed because I had the Saints originally losing this game, but the closer I'm getting to it, I'm willing us to win. So that Bucs fever is hitting
I like it. David?
Yeah, 27-24 to the Bucs again. I don't think it's going to be the blowout, but desperate for our Bucs to win.
Interesting. And Gene, what do you think the numbers are going to look like?
35-28.
To
the Bucs.
Yes.
I'm going to be the boo bird. I'm going to be the lone wolf for everyone on NFL Network.
Yeah.
I think this is like 28-27 with someone on the waiver wire come Monday morning. the heads will roll.
The makings.
We shall see. Okay. So at that point, obviously, thanks, Gene, for helping us out with that, and we'll obviously come back to you to find out much more about you in the next part of our show. First, we just need to say a little bit about all the competitions for our members. So you should have had an email now if you're a member. If you're not a member, get to bucsuk.org/join.php and sign up, because we've now got all our competitions live. The Ultimate Prediction competition, you've got the game ball that you can win. Each of the weekly competitions, you've got the T-shirt and a very nice money can't buy Bucs UK mug. The Fantasy Football Leagues, that's it. Yeah, Gene's rocking the T-shirt, looking good. And the fantasy football competitions, I'm afraid that they are full. For the first time ever, we're now running 4 fantasy leagues, and they're all full. So I'm sorry about that, but each one of those will have a prize. So the people already signed up for that. And we have our week 1 competition, And our week one competition is a little bit like we've been debating, Bruce versus Breeze. How many yards are they going to throw for, and who's going to get the most yards out of the two of them? Get your entry in on the forum, and we'll go from there. We also have to say thank you again to Bucs Report for helping to promote our podcast. And we're also going to hear a little bit now from one of our older members, or longer standing members, I should say. He is retired, though. We're going to hear from Gary Butley.
Hi, my name's Gary Botterley, aka The Judge on the forum. I've been a Bucs fan since 1985. Yes, you heard that right, 1985, and I joined the Bucs UK the following year. I love being a member of the Bucs UK, and while there is a club, I will always be a member. I've been following the sport since the mid-70s. My parents went across to Washington for a holiday and they brought me back a Redskins cap. So I'm now a Redskins fan, despite the fact there was no internet, no TV coverage, nothing in the newspapers, but I'm still a Redskins fan. The popularity of the sport took off in 1982, which was when Channel 4 started. They were showing highlights of the previous week's games. And they also showed the Super Bowl live on TV in January 83. That was won by the Redskins, so I was well happy with that. 1985 was my first trip across the pond. The friend I'd gone to visit took me down to Tampa. We saw the Bucs play the Rams. Guess who won? Yeah, you're right, it was the Rams. Good game, high scoring. The following week, they went to Miami, so I watched that game on TV over there. They scored 38 points and lost. Jimmy Giles, 4 touchdowns, if any of you are old enough to remember that. But I was hooked, absolutely hooked. Redskins, yeah, get rid of you. I'm now a Bucs fan. I've been lucky enough to go across the pond many times since. I'm seeing somewhere in the region of 80 games now, I think, live, including 5 last year, albeit only 1 victory. But then again, I'm a Bucs fan. Dave, Kieron and Phil do a great job now running the club. It's run very much with the members in mind. The merchandise is fantastic. The prizes are fantastic. I know that because I've spent many an hour stood outside Raymond James Stadium getting players' autographs. We also, of course, have a fantastic relationship with the Bucs organisation, and long may that continue. Just before I finish, I wanted to say a word about this year. I am the one. I am the one who was not a fan of bringing in Tom Brady. I would have stuck with Winston. Yes, I know he throws interceptions. I have my own theory, which I won't bore you with, as to why he throws those interceptions. I think the move long term will come back and bite us on the bum. This season, double-digit wins for sure. I can't see any way around that. I'm not quite in Pete's 16-0 from the last couple of weeks' podcasts. Double digits easily. The defense will be better. The quarterback play will be better. Anyway, with that, I've rambled enough. I shall shut up. If you're not a member, join. If you are a member, well done. Get on the forum, enter the competitions, take part, and enjoy being a Bucs fan. So that's it. Thanks. Go Bucs.
Thank you, Gary, for saying those nice words. And now we have our main course for this week's episode. We're going to hear all about Gene Thomas. As I say, so he is our first ever special guest on our podcast. He's from Arizona, but he's a Bucs fan. If you must have seen Buck What You Heard. This is a podcast that's been going over 5 years now, over 250 episodes, over 750 subscribers. He does it live. He does it interactive. He's chatting on the social media. It's like you're an octopus on that keyboard. It's so impressive to see. And we're so delighted to have you here. And as you can see, Phil was on your podcast, and we gave you that T-shirt. So it's really nice to be able to show him the favor. Welcome,
Guys. Thank you so much for having me on. I'm very honored. This is a great stream. I think what you guys do over in the UK is amazing. Having traveled over there, and people, I wear Bucs gear when I go to the UK, and people will stop me and talk about football. And what struck me as funny about 3 years ago, I would say maybe 4, is that they're so everybody over there is well educated. It's not like they're coming from their heart about how they feel about their team, but they've actually researched everything, and they have a logical direction that they're going when they're talking about an argument for their team. So you have to be on your P's and Q's. When I come over there, I have to be on it. I have to be up 100%. I had a guy that was asking me about a backup running back for the Minnesota Vikings. And I just happened to be on NFL Network. And fortunately for me, I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I know who you're talking about. I know what's going on. But that's what I love about the UK is that it's not about passion about the team and undying passion. It's about you guys are researching. You guys understand. You guys look at analytics. You guys look at the game prior, and you have an idea of this is why, an educated reason, this is why I'm going with where I'm going. So I applaud you. And I would say this about the majority of the fan base that I've met over there is been the same way. Even when I was in Edinburgh, same thing. It's just how it is over there. And that's why I missed the NFL Europe. I thought NFL Europe was a great direction. I felt like that was something that the NFL should have built on. And I hate that they didn't do more with it.
Would you rather see an NFL Europe or a UK franchise?
Ooh, straight to the jugular.
Who was it? The Dragons. It was the Dragons.
Barcelona.
Yeah, Barcelona. But again, I think that's the missing resource right there. I think the NFL could really build off that because there are a lot of European players in Europe that love the game, that are passionate about the game, and they actually have talent. And I would love to see them, getting opportunities in the NFL.
Yeah, the NFL UK has been working really hard to build a sort of talent academy. What some of our stateside friends may not know is that there are literally hundreds of teams up and down the country. Our universities, our colleges have teams. There's an amateur league. There's a lot of youth, mixed boys and girls playing flag football. It's really good to see. Alistair Kirkwood, NFL UK, he's basically set up an academy to try and foster that talent. And they've taken sort of 25 deliberately young, promising prospects. And I think what's great is, we've started to see now some of those prospects as they progress through being allocated to NFL teams, not taking up a roster spot. And I think that's that can only pay dividends in the long term.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, if you think about it, that's kind of where the NFL, I think, had COVID-19 not happened, I really believe that the NFL Europe would have built up a little bit more steam than what it has. When I look at what they have, and Germany had a great team. The UK had a great team. Barcelona, and it's just a shame that they weren't able to build on that. I really believe Jacksonville was on their way to putting a team in the UK. I really believe that. I think Shahid Khan was, really close to doing that. But with everything that's happened with COVID-19, it's kind of put that on the back burner now.
Well, he tried to buy Wembley at one stage, didn't he?
Exactly. And that's what I'm saying. I think eventually it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. There will be, and this is my hot take right here. You guys heard it first. There will be an NFL team in the UK in the next 3 to 4 years.
Ooh. That's a short time horizon. I agree with you. I think it'll be there one day.
I think that they rebound from COVID-19 once we get everything back running. I do see an NFL team in the NFL in Europe in like I said, in the next 3 to 4 years.
So all of which was very good deflection. I have to say straight away, Gene, because we want to hear about you as well. Tell us about yourself. Tell us your story.
Former season ticket holder. I was born in West Tampa. Grew up in West Tampa. My family, my sons, and just my sisters and brothers. Everybody lives in Tampa right now. My job actually took me to Arizona. So when I moved to Arizona, I gave up my season tickets, and I'm actually in Arizona. But the Bucs are in my blood from '76 to the present. I mean, I was young at that time. I really didn't get into Bucs football until '79, but ever since then, meeting Mr. McKay, meeting Doug Williams, meeting Ricky Bell, and players like that, when they would have the little outings at Winn-Dixie's and some of the other things that they did, I've just been a Bucs fan, regardless of where I've been. And it coming back when I graduated from college, getting to get back into the Tampa Bay area, it was just exciting for me. And I knew that the one thing I had to do was get my season tickets back. And it was at that time you love this team. You can't help but appreciate this team. What I have seen from this team in recent years is how they've benefited in the community and what they've done. So hats off to the Glaziers and what they've done. I know a lot of people do not like the Glaziers, but I really feel like they've tried to do what's best for the organization and keep themselves clear of everything else. So I don't know. I'm one of those guys that I love the Bucs, and I've been through the worst of it, and I've been through the best of it, and I think we're back up to where we should be, competing for the playoff spot, competing for the NFC South, and I'm really looking forward to that.
So obviously, you're a distant fan in the same way that we're distant fans. We're
Oh,
we're
absolutely.
5 hours one way. You're a couple of hours the other way. So we're
Yeah,
staying up late, but you're getting up early.
What's funny? I will make room. I'll go over to my son's house. Either one of my son's houses. I'll go over there when I come to Tampa and I'm at home. And so just being able to go over there and watch a game, the tailgates, What the Buck, and shout out to What the Buck and what they do for the amazing tailgates that they have. And if you've never been to a What the Buck tailgate, it's incredible. That's all I can say about it. You must go. But going from the Big Sombrero and Houlihan Stadium and transitioning over to Raymond James Stadium, it's like night and day. But I've enjoyed all of it, to be honest.
I've been in your comment section a few times, Gene. We talked back and forth, and I just want to know, like, you do the fan shows where you get like Eric Moreno on, those types of shows. Will you be doing more of them in the future?
Oh, absolutely. I think that's the main premise of my show, is to make sure that people have a voice. This is what really started me on to doing live streams and podcasts. I called into the local channel, and I said that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers were going to win. It was against the Washington Redskins. That's who they were facing at the time. And I said, based on what the Bucs did, based on what the defense is doing, based on what the offense is doing, the Bucs are going to win. And the host laughed at me, and then he hung up on me. And the Bucs ended up winning that game, by the way, just FYI. The Bucs ended up winning that game, and I was like, you know what? I know as much as these guys do. And there's got to be a way that I can get my point across, and you know what? Get people's other people's voices in and make that a part of it. So I've implemented people being able to actually call into the show. Now you can call in when the show is live, and I'll get you on the show and you can say whatever you have to say. I think that is something that is really missing from a lot of sports talk radio, or just in general podcasts. And I think it needs to be brought back. I think if you've invested your time in a team, it's important to be able to say what you need to say.
So what's your best moment so far, do you think, on your show?
The best moment, I would say, is when Pat Donaldson from iHeartRadio I don't know if you guys listen to Pat and Aaron, the Pat and Aaron show. When he agreed to let me have him on and let me interview him, and then Aaron Jacobson came on a couple of weeks later, and just getting to have those guys on to where they recognize that I'm not just some hothead that's trying to spew information, but I genuinely care about this team and I want to see this team win. And I think that was the turning point for me, because he could have easily gone out and went to YouTube, watched my show, and said, "Oh, this guy's an idiot. All right, I'm not going on his show. There's no way I'm putting my reputation with that guy." So for me, that was kind of the turning point. I've had different fans on, and again, I've talked to former players, but it's just something that I'm continuously trying to get better at.
What gives you the biggest buzz in your show?
The chat. The more people that are in the chat, the more people that are interacting, I think that gives me the biggest buzz right there, is because people are all interacting. There's never really any drama on my show. I'll mute somebody if I feel like they're being disrespectful or whatever. I will try to cut that down, because I want everybody to have that opportunity to genuinely say what they feel.
So I think we're still baby feet here on our podcast. We're too scared to go live, but people can send us messages. They can engage in the talk. I'll put the number up below. It's on WhatsApp. It's 07311 212 713. That's 07311 212 713. And what we'd love to have, or you can email us at mail@bucsuk.org. And what we'd love is for our members after each game now, send us a video. Tell us how you enjoyed that game or you didn't enjoy that game. Then, and we'll play the bits that are legally airable.
That is the beauty of it right there. I mean, like on my show, I drink beer, I use profanity. I mean, it has to be raw. I mean, if this is how you feel, you shouldn't have anything that holds you back from saying this is how I feel about the team. The Bucs have not really given us a good product over the past decade. They are getting better, and you have to be able to say how you truly feel. There's no wrong way to be a Buc fan, to be honest.
Oh, we vent on that forum.
Yeah, that's where we swear.
I am going to make the forum part of my ritual when I'm watching the games moving forward, especially this season.
It's nice and mobile friendly. You can have it on your phone, on your cell when you're watching. I must admit, I'm a double screener. I kind of got the game on one screen and the forum on the other. If I had a third, I'd put Red Zone on there as well, but times aren't that generous quite yet. But as I say, we're still baby steps in our podcast, and I guess we know we're a little bit cliche because coronavirus came along, and now it seems like everyone and his dog's got a podcast going. But have you got any tips for us? Because you've been doing this 5 years.
My thing is, I'm on Twitter. I think Twitter, when you're talking about sports, Twitter is the main lifeline. I mean, if you want to be good, you need to get your presence known on Twitter. I understand people get on Facebook, so on and so on, but your legitimate people are on Twitter. I try to promote as many people as I can. I would love to see 100 Bucs podcasts out there. I would love that. That would make me. There's no competition to me. I think if you find your niche, that's what you do. I encourage anybody and everybody, if you do have the opportunity, if you do have the resources to make a podcast, please do it. Please do it. By all means, do it. You never know who's going to connect with you and how that's all going to work out. So please just, if that's your thought, you have a camera, you have a webcam, or, even on your laptop, whatever you can do to put that content out there, there's going to be somebody that's going to want to see it.
I think that's a really good point. And I think also it's not a competition. I think we're just, we're trying to reach out to our members, but we're also interested in the views of the stateside fans as well. We're there for everyone. And I love the generosity you have when you're on Twitter, where you say, I want to watch a podcast. Recommend me something, and you do that all the time, and it's really good. And then someone replies, and you actually watch it, and you actually send a comment back afterwards. And I think you say you're there to share. It's great.
Yeah, I think that's important. When I started out, there were a lot of people that didn't want to help me. They were like, oh, this is my show. You're impeding on my territory, or that kind of thing. There's room for everybody. There's a niche for everybody, and you're going to see the genuinely true people, and you're going to see the people that are pretenders and they just want the attention. So, I'm not here to judge anybody one way or the other, but I think you should try it. I mean, if you have an opportunity to do it, please do it. Like yours, I was so excited because you guys have a perspective that we stateside do not have, and I appreciate you guys, everybody. I think you had it looked like 100 different screens up one time. I can't remember the show you guys had, but you had all these people on here, and you made it work, and it just was amazing. And I wanted to see that again. I was hoping that eventually you guys will try this again, because that right there that's fandom right there. That's where you take time out of your busy schedule. You can get on here and you can talk about how you feel about the team you love.
But yeah, and that's what I like also, is I like meeting lots of other Bucks fans, and that's the thing I've noticed probably in the last years. I don't get out to Tampa as much as some of our other members. I mean, we're very lucky that we're able to get some tickets through the Bucks Direct. And so our members can go to home and away games, and we have fans at most games. But what I've noticed is there's a buzz now, and I'm not talking about the buzz from like 2002 where there's a season ticket list where you've got to put your grandchildren down. But you're just you're walking around a mall in Tampa, or you're pulling in to get some gas, and you'll actually see someone wearing something Bucks related now. And before, you were just as likely to see a Raiders shirt or a Dolphins jersey or.
Yeah.
Here is the irony. Since Tom Brady actually associated himself with Tampa, I was the only person in Phoenix that I could think of. I know there's an actual Buckaholics chapter here, but I never could walk around and see people actually supporting the Tampa Bay Buccaneers until Tom Brady. And I can tell you right now, I've seen a bunch of people, when I'm out, and they're actually wearing Brady jerseys for the Bucks. And people are, hey, you're a Bucks fan. How long have you been a Bucks fan? All my life, mostly. And just trying to explain to them, the history and some of the things that go on. It's really interesting. And I think when you're away from Tampa and you see people actually wearing the jerseys, talking about Tampa, that's really exciting for me. I mean, I would love to see Tampa. I would love to see Ray J just packed. I want to see fans in there and enjoying it. And it's good to see Tampa in a positive light.
Yeah, I got another question for you, Gene.
Yes, sir.
In the last 10 years, what's been your favorite Bucks moment? Just any general Buccaneers moment.
The best moment was when the Atlanta Falcons rushed Jameis Winston. The Atlanta Falcons versus Jameis Winston at Ray J. They rushed and they had him dead to rights. It looked like a sack, and this guy ran for 20 yards.
Yeah, brilliant.
And I can tell you right then and there, because if you guys don't know, if you haven't watched my show, I hate the Atlanta Falcons. Hate them. 28-3 was when Tom Brady came to Tampa. The fact that he came back and beat Atlanta was a huge factor in me welcoming him to Tampa.
Yeah,
that's just how much I don't like them. But where I was sitting at was right by the pirate ship. We were down to, we were two rows up from from where the end zone was, right by the pirate ship. And all these guys were in my ear. You're just chirping, blah, 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 the whole game. And so you've got Jameis Winston dead to rights. Jameis Winston breaks out of the tackle and runs for 20 yards. And he gets the first down. They end up scoring, and the Bucks end up winning that game against Atlanta.
You just popped out of nowhere.
Oh, no. They ended up leaving. I think the beauty of it was everybody around me had on the Rise Up shirts that they were wearing, and everybody was, talking about Atlanta and all this other stuff. And as soon as Jameis Winston did that, it broke their wheels, and they all left. And to me, you had to be in the fans. You had to be in the area where I was to see that. But that was the most brilliant moment as a Bucks fan. And I've seen Barry Sanders. I've seen Sweetness, Walter Payton. I've seen so many different players come through but I tell you that specific moment meant so much to me just watching that particular time.
Brilliant.
Okay, so I think the clock is against us and we're nearly out of time. But Gene, it's only fair you get the final word. Just in closing, what your expectations are for the season and any message for the Bucs UK members.
Yeah, absolutely. I do have my expectations are the Tampa Bay Buccaneers will go to the playoffs, and I think they will win some games in the playoffs. Going to the Super Bowl is an added bonus. It is potentially possible. It just kind of depends on injuries and how this team kind of connects together. It kind of drives where they're going to go. So to me, I think it's possible that every single game that the Bucs play this year is a winnable game. I don't see a team that comes in and dominates the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I feel like they're going to be the team that control their own destiny. And as far as Bucs UK members, please reach out to us here in stateside. I think that you will really get a greater appreciation if you're on social media, whether it's Facebook or Instagram or just whatever you're on, Twitter. Please reach out to us. We are more than happy to have you. You're always welcome. And I think that's the most important thing is us coming together as a Buccaneers community, not just as certain factions, but we all want this team to win another Super Bowl like what we've seen before.
Thank you, Gene. And obviously, Buck, what you heard is now essential listening. I checked. It has to be 4 exclamation marks. It's Buck, what you heard, and 4 exclamation marks. Make sure you're on YouTube. Make sure you're on all the social media and following it. It's a really great show and really good listening. Gene, thank you ever so much. And thank you also to David and Adam.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, Gene. Well done.
Love that. Thanks, Gene.
Great to have you on.
And so one last call again for members. Make sure you enter all the competitions. Make sure you're on the forum. Send us your message. And next time we will be mulling over the entrails of whatever's left of the New Orleans Saints, and we will be looking ahead to preview the game after that. So join us again soon, and thank you very much.